until the end. Our first inductee, Tom Lannon, class of 1940. Tom is being represented tonight by two nephews, Steve Butters and Ryan Butters. Tom Lannon was a state champion in basketball. He was voted as an all-state guard and placed on the first team all-tournament team. He was the best player on the championship team. The championship was won by a 33-point margin, 47-14 over Hayburn. Tom led his team to a 32-7 record. A newspaper quote from the time stated, "Perhaps the greatest high school hoopster to ever cavort in these parts." Tom went on to play at the University of Utah in Salt Lake City. Tom was also a very good quarterback on the football team. Unfortunately, Tom was killed in World War II. Tom Lannon. Garth Panter, class of 1948. He's being represented tonight by his children, Sheldon, Christine, and Pam, and a granddaughter, Shelley. Garth was a boxer, back when boxing was a high school sport. He was a two-time district champion. There was no state championship back then for boxing. Upon graduating from Westside, Garth pursued a professional boxing career. From 1949 to 1957, Garth boxed his way to a 60-27 record. 48% of those wins were by knockout. Two of his more prestigious fights were when he fought Sugar Ray Robinson and Gene Fulmer. Garth fought for the middleweight championship of the world. Garth was ranked as high as #2 in the middleweight division. Some of Garth's fights can even be viewed on YouTube. Garth Panter. Calvin Porter, class of 1960. Calvin is one of our rare four-sport athletes here at Westside, competing in football, basketball, baseball, and track. Calvin was quarterback on the football team and was a top scorer in the district, regardless of the size of school. He was also a top scorer in the district in basketball, leading his team to a third-place finish at state. Calvin scored just shy of 400 points in his senior season. That was long before the three-point line. His 36 points in one game was a school record that lasted for 33 years. In track, his 4x880-yard relay team had a time that broke the state record at the time. Calvin Porter. Dan Ralphs, class of 1979. Dan was the Idaho A3 Basketball Player of the Year in 1978 and 1979. A 3-year varsity starter at center on the basketball team, Dan is a 2-time state basketball champion, helping his team win the championship in 1978 and 1979. Dan scored 1,177 total points in his high school basketball career. This was a school record for 14 years. Dan Ralphs. Paul Smart, class of 1982. Paul was a 3-sport athlete at Westside. In football, Paul was the quarterback for the 1980 state championship football team. He was a first-team All-State quarterback his junior and senior years. He is still #5 all-time for passing yards in a season and 2nd and 4th all-time for touchdown passes in a single season at Westside. Paul was an important member of the varsity basketball team, winning the district championship and going to the state tournament every year he played. Paul was all-state in basketball his junior and senior years. Paul is currently in the top 10 all-time scorers in basketball at Westside. Paul was also an all-state performer in track and field. He was the school record holder in the high jump for several years. Paul Smart. David Kohler, class of 1982. Dave is another one of our rare 4-sport athletes at Westside. He excelled in football, basketball, tennis, and track. Dave was #1 first-team All-State in football as a receiver. He set the single-season school receiving record his senior year in football. His 757 yards receiving is still good for #2 on the list of all-time receivers. He was also a very good defensive backfield player, leading the team in interceptions. David was also first-team All-State in basketball. He led the team in scoring his senior season and was an important member of the team that secured a 3rd-place trophy at the state basketball tournament. David was also first-team All-State in tennis his senior year. Dave also competed at the state track meet. David Kohler, along with Paul Smart, were awarded the Westside Athlete of the Year in 1982. David Kohler. Amy Reeder, class of 1994. Amy is an incredible athlete in Westside's track and field history. Her school records in the 100-meter, 200-meter, and long jump have stood for 30 years. Amy's prolific track career includes 11 total medals at the state track meets. Amy's track career includes the following amazing accomplishments. She was the state champion and gold medalist in the long jump in 1992, 93, and 94. State champion and gold medalist in the 100 meters in 93 and 94. State champion and gold medalist in the 200 meters in 1993 and 1994. Amy's dominance on the track has stood the test of time. Amy was also an important member of the volleyball team that was state runner-up her senior season. Amy Reeder Callahan. We also have 3 coaches we're inducting. First, Coach Chris White, volleyball coach. Chris was Westside's volleyball coach for 24 years. During her tenure as head coach, Chris led her team to the state tournament 12 times. Once Chris led her team to the state tournament, they almost always brought home a trophy. 9 times the state trophy was earned and brought home to Westside. 2 of those trips to state resulted in a state championship. Her first in 1998 and again the following year in 1999. The team's 5 second-place finishes and 2 third-place finishes proved that Chris's Westside teams were a force to be reckoned with anytime they went to state. She also led her teams to multiple district championships. As a tribute to the kind of coach Chris White was for Westside, many of her former players are here with us tonight. I've never heard anyone say anything negative about Chris White. She was a beloved coach, and Westside has been the better for her being here. Chris White. Con Smith. Con was Westside's football and basketball coach from 1974 to 1979. Con was the Idaho A3 Coach of the Year twice in basketball in 1975 and 1979, and once in football in 1974. Con coached Westside to our 2 state basketball championships, 1978 and 1979. His winning record in basketball was 99 wins to only 25 losses for a winning percentage of 79.8. Rounded up, he won 80% of his basketball games here. Coach Smith also compiled a record of 36-15 in football, winning 70% of his football games. The state football tournament started in 1977 when Coach Smith coached at Westside, and he led the team to a 3rd-place finish that first year. Con won the district championship every year he coached. Following his coaching career at Westside, Coach Con Smith went on to win a national championship in the NCAA at Indiana and was the head coach at Utah State University for 5 years. Coach Con Smith. Lyle Henderson, class of 1955 and football coach. Lyle started his teaching and football coaching career at Westside in 1965. Lyle was the head coach for 23 years, starting in 1986. His longevity and coaching talent set the standard. Lyle had 138 wins and a 63% winning percentage as head coach. Lyle led his team to several district championships, multiple trips to the state tournament, and 2 state championship appearances. Lyle led his team to the state championship in 2004 and was awarded Coach of the Year. Lyle has been part of the Westside football program for 58 years. During that time, he has been part of over 400 victories as an assistant and head coach. Our football field is named in his honor, Lyle Henderson. Ladies and gentlemen, it is with deep respect and highest honor that we present to you the inaugural class of the Westside High School Athletic Hall of Fame. These inductees represent some of the finest people to ever come through Westside. We celebrate not only their athletic accomplishments here tonight, but we also honor them as human beings. We believe we found 10 people that any community would be proud to emulate. Not only have they proven themselves on the field, court, or track as exceptional, they have established themselves as extraordinary members of our society. We are so proud of you. Please stand with us and show your appreciation to this remarkable group of people. The 2024 class